Good evening, boys and girls. All right, so we are continuing with our lecture series. It's been a bit rocky in the last few days. Yesterday, there was some power supply issue, and prior to that, as you know, that it was July. The due dates for income tax returns were there, and although I've not been very uh, deeply working in income tax per se, but somehow this time around we were having some busy time around this income tax returns. So that is the reason why around 30 and 31st of July we could not connect. Thereafter, yesterday we had a challenge because of some power supply issues, but however, now from today onwards, we'll ensure that every day we'll have a session, at least 5 days in a week, we'll have a session. And maybe even if the time is not matching, some of the other time which is suitable for everybody, you can watch at any time for that from that perspective, and basis that we will go ahead with the lecture. Okay. All right. So let us continue now our discussion. So if I remember correctly, we had finished our discussion on Schedule 3 of the Schedule 2 of the CGST Act, I believe, and thereafter we were to go and discuss the Schedule 3. That was possibly the last thing which I'm able to recall very properly what we had discussed. Just 1 minute. Okay, so as a part of scope of supply discussion, I also had asked you guys that where if it is possible for you, kindly go through the question and answers from ICS study material or any of the like this thing. I mean the like question bank that you have. So I hope you might have gone through till now. You must have gone through till now. And if you are having any questions, you can also please post it out here. Once this chapter is completed, as per my assertion basis, that I will also take up the question and answers as I've already told you, right? Okay, so here we go with respect to our discussion. So now Schedule 1, Schedule 2 is what we did complete on that day. And if I'm not wrong, we I think also finished up with the Schedule 3. However, as I told you that there are a few transactions that we discussed subsequently, which were a part of the Schedule 3 discussion. So as much as I remember, we have finished the discussion on Schedule 1, 2, and 3. If anybody is watching live and can help me recall if we have finished the discussion, can that will be helpful. Nonetheless, let's do one thing. So we'll start up with the new part, that is the discussion on composite and mixed supplies. Okay. Now, once this composite and mixed supply part is done, of course, we will discuss a few question answers as I told you, because then logically we will be completing one part of the chapter called as scope of supply. That is the reason why I'm saying so. Okay. Now, friends, as a part of under the GST laws, what really happened was that when this concept of composite and mixed supply was specifically introduced. Now, this has some history of the pre-GST regime. Let me be a bit clear about that. This has a specific history of the pre-GST regime that, as I also mentioned to you while we discussed the Schedule 2, why the Schedule 2 was there in first place, because Schedule 2 has been there in existence under the GST law only because कि ऐसे जहां जहां पे भी conflicting scenarios थे कि whether a transaction should be considered as goods or supply of goods or supply of service, वो सब scenarios को दूर करने के लिए we had this Schedule 2 and all the like things. Now, what we are going to discuss particularly is the 2 points. One is what you mean by something called as a composite supply and what you mean by mixed supply. And unless we figure out that the definitions of composite supply and mixed supply, so to subsection 32 and the definition of mixed supply in 274, we are going to discuss it one by one. We'll first discuss composite supply, but now first of all, we'll try to understand that when will these composite and mixed supply concepts be triggered in first place. So I am not going to pass all the transactions of supply of goods or services through the test of composite or mixed supply unless there are two or more goods or services which are forming a part of this single transaction. So only if there are two or more goods or services which are forming a part of one single transaction, then only we are going to say it is going to be either a composite supply or it will be a mixed supply. Or it may also happen that there are two or more goods or services involved, but it is neither considered as composite supply nor considered as mixed supply. And we are going to discuss a illustration on each of it. And I hope that that is going to make things quite clear for you. Okay, now what are the parts of this composite and mixed supply? So for that matter, let us first try to quickly see the definition of composite supply. Okay. Now, as I had mentioned to you that composite supply as it has been defined in section 2 subsection 30 of the CGST Act. So we'll first see the simple definition of composite supply. Right. Now, what is the definition of composite supply? Okay. यहाँ पे composite supply हमको क्या बता रहा है that composite supply means supply of goods or services, supply of goods or services means यहाँ पे मैं जब composite बोल रहा हूँ तभी as I stated that by default if there are more than one goods or services together as a part of a transaction, commonly as a part of transaction, then we are going to say that it is a composite supply, or it may be a mixed supply, or it may or may not be either a composite supply, mixed supply. It may be called as it is not defined in the law, but there is a word called as assorted supply, means segregated supply. Composite is covered in the law, mixed is covered in the law, segregated supply as such is just a concept. It is not covered anywhere in the law. So we'll see what this concept of composite supply is. Now, as per the definition under section 2 subsection 30 of the CGST Act, composite supply means a supply made by a taxable person to a recipient consisting of two or more taxable supplies. Now, what it specifically says out over here is a supply made by a taxable person to a recipient consisting of two or more taxable supplies of goods or services or both, or a combination thereof, which are very importantly, we are going to highlight a particular part, which are naturally bundled, one thing, which are supplied in conjunction with each other in the ordinary course of business. Again, very important aspect, ordinary course of business, and one of which is a principal supply. Now see, there are 2 to 3 important things that we are going to drag out of this discussion. Composite supply means a supply made by a taxable person. Now, first of all, try to understand there is a relevance of all these words, and we are going to break them down one by one. Composite supply means supply made by a taxable person. So taxable person का भी definition CGST Act में available है. So we will be a bit quick on this, that when I say taxable person, it means Taxable person means taxable person as defined under the GST law. And under the GST law, the meaning of taxable person is the one person who is liable to pay GST under this act is called as a taxable person. So ऐसा नहीं आपको लगे कि मैं कुछ तो भाई हवाई बातें बता रहा हूँ. So I'll just quickly take you to the definition of taxable person. Okay. What it means here is means a person who is registered or liable to be registered under this act is called as a taxable person. Now, if I go to the provisions of registration, under section 22 or section 24, now section 22 talks about who is supposed to get registered under this act. There it is said that every person making a taxable supply from a state is supposed to get registered in that particular state under the GST laws. If the turnover is exceeding the specified limit of 20 lakhs, or in the case specified cases, it is 10 lakhs. And in case of only goods supplied in an intrastate basis, it may be 40 lakhs. So we are not right now very much keenly dwelling into the registration provisions. We are saying that composite supply के definition में ऐसा बोला था that composite supply means supply of goods or service made by a taxable person. So first of all, who is a taxable person? Person who is registered or is liable to be registered under the section 22 or 24 of the CGST Act. Now section 24 calls in for a compulsory registration scenario. So either you are registered compulsorily or you are registered voluntarily. By any means, once you are registered under this act, you will be called as a taxable person. If you are a taxable person, if you are making a taxable supply as a taxable person of 2 or more goods or services, then we are going to trigger this definition of composite supply in first place. Okay, so friends, ये क्यों मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ कि जब आप जीएसटी लॉ की पढ़ाई करते हो, why I specifically always prefer to carry the course of discussion through the Bare Act, because it really gives you a logical sequence. That okay, I was actually studying the concept of composite supply in section 8 of the CGST Act, but composite supply के बारे में how the supply would be composite supply is only what is told in section 8. Section 8 does not say what is a composite supply. So I need to go and check what is a composite supply. So I went to section 2 subsection 30. Now 2 subsection 30 tells me supply means composite supply means a supply made by a taxable person. Okay, now who is a taxable person? Uska bhi definition diya hai. To 2107 we saw the definition that taxable person means somebody who is registered or liable to be registered under either section 22 or section 24 of the CGST Act. For a convenience of our discussion point of view, limiting our discussion to a limited point in time, I only said that section 22 talks about statutory registrations, section 24 talks about compulsive registration. So if in either of the case, either as a statutory requirement you are getting registered, or you are liable to get registered, or you are getting registered under the reason of compulsive registration, in both these cases you will be called as taxable person. अच्छा, taxable person क्यों relevant है? Because composite supply क्या बोलता है? Supply made by a taxable person to a recipient consisting of 2 or more taxable supplies of goods or services or both or a combination thereof, which are naturally bundled and supplied in the course or furtherance of business in conjunction with each other. So there has to be a presupposition. Whenever I'm going to talk about composite supply, singular transaction, singular goods and service होने वाले transaction में composite mix supply का कुछ लेना देना है. Multiple goods and services, if they are being given together as a part of one single supply, then we are going to discuss the taxability of how it is going to be. So now definition of composite supply says that supply means supply made by a taxable person to a recipient consisting of 2 or more taxable supplies of goods or services or a combination thereof, which are naturally bundled and supplied in conjunction with each other in the ordinary course of business, one of which is a principal supply. So firstly, I need to bifurcate. Firstly, as I already have taken कि भाई taxable person होना जरूरी. Okay, what is next? One, there has to be a taxable person who is making a supply of 2 or more goods or services or a combination thereof. Now, we'll first limit our discussion only to this. When you say 2 or more goods or services, एक कोई भी रैंडम ट्रांजैक्शन अपने आसपास का उठा के देखो जहां पे आपको ऐसा रियलाइज होता है, ओके वॉट एवर आई एम टेकिंग राइट नाउ फ्रॉम द मार्केट दैट हैज टू और मोर गुड्स और सर्विसेज और देयर इज अ कॉम्बिनेशन देयर. So can you think of something like this? Okay, so let's take an example. Now see, there is already a example which is given in the law, that is where the goods are packed and transported with insurance वगैरह वगैरह. वो एक चीज तो हो गया. अभी हम लोग एक example लेते हैं. Now you've booked a room in a hotel. Okay, you've booked a room in a hotel. That room is giving you what facilities that room is giving you. So room में ऐसा आपको बताया that आपको room reservation मिलेगा. You will get a complimentary breakfast as a part of this. Apart from that, you will also get a newspaper in the hotel. You will get a Wi-Fi connection in the hotel. Everything. This is what is going to be available to you as a part of this tariff that you're paying for the hotel. ना उसमें सब सर्विस आएगा कि आपका लगेज उठा के रख दिया जाएगा, लगेज वापस लेने आएंगे, आपके चेक इन चेकआउट के टाइम पे ये सब भी सर्विसेज आपको एडिशनली दी जाएगी. Hotel package says that okay, we will also give you a pick and drop from the airport to your hotel, hotel to the airport. ये सब कुछ आपका आ रहा है as a part of package that you have purchased from, let's say, Marriott Hotel. Now, when you say that I'm booking a hotel for this particular transaction, transaction, I'm having a package which is booked with a hotel, which is giving me a stay, which is also giving me, I mean, along with stay, मेरे को complimentary breakfast है, उसमें मुझे newspaper आएगा, मेरे पास इंटरनेट रहेगा, टेलीविजन स्क्रीनिंग में टीवी कॉन्फ्रेंसिंग कर सकूंगा, मेरे पास रूम में additional facilities like I'll be getting the luggage picked and drop, I'll be getting to the drop to the airport and everything. ये सब मेरे पैकेज का हिस्सा है. So now there is a combination of two or more services which is actually coming into picture. So we are saying as of now we are only limiting our discussion to one point, that हम लोग जब बात करते हैं एक live example की जिसमें there are supply of two or more goods or services or a combination thereof, that okay I can say that okay this is very much a scenario of supply of two or more good services or a combination thereof, right? Two or more good service or a combination thereof. Now in this case, whenever there is two or more goods or services or a combination thereof, further I'm going to say further, which are naturally bundled. Now what you mean by naturally bundled? Naturally bundled is not defined in the GST law. So when you say naturally bundled, it calls in for a discussion of something called as a trade parlance or a common parlance, that in the ordinary circumstances of business, in the ordinary scenarios of business, when you go in the market, you are willing to procure this type of a goods, this type of service, and जिसमें combination आ जाता है, तभी उस बेसिक सर्विस के साथ साथ आपको क्या क्या चीजें आई तो it is not going to sound very heterogeneous to you. मतलब वो सब homogeneous लगता है, एक दूसरे से जुड़ा हुआ चीज लगता है, ऐसा कौन सा ट्रांजैक्शन होता है. So the example that we are discussing, that okay, when you booked a room in a hotel, so you booked a room, okay, you booked a room in a hotel जिसमें आपको क्या क्या मिल रहा है. So you're getting to have the stay facility, you're getting to have breakfast as a part of it. देन आपके रूम में आपको फैसिलिटीज मिल रहा है कि आपको न्यूज़पेपर मिलेगा, देन आपको वाईफाई मिलेगा, फ्री वाईफाई है, देन आपको पिक एंड ड्रॉप सर्विस है. So now when you say this, don't you think it is like a multiple services which are being given to you together? It is a multiple combination of services which is given to you, but आपको ऐसा लगता है उसमें कुछ ऑड लगा क्या कि यही ऐसा इसमें हाउ कैन द होटल गिव स्टे एंड गिव अ ब्रेकफास्ट आल्सो, हाउ कैन दे गिव न्यूज़पेपर्स आल्सो, इसमें कुछ ऐसा ऑड नहीं लगता है? क्यों? बिकॉज ओके व्हेन यू थिंक दैट ओके मैं अगर होटल में जाके रहता हूँ तो ये सब चीजें ऑब्वियस है. चलो पिक एंड ड्रॉप देना ये शायद ऑब्वियस बात नहीं है, पर इन व्हेन यू गो इन द बिग होटल्स एंड इफ दे आर ऑफरिंग यू अ पैकेज ऑफ दैट नेचर, यू आर नॉट गोइंग टू माइंड डूइंग दैट, राइट? You will be fine with it. So if that exists, then there is no problem to you. So you're going to take those things. So it is very much safe to say that, okay, these transactions, I mean, these activities or services are naturally bundled. These are naturally bundled. They are not artificially put together. Now I'll give you another example. So let's say that you buy a television set. वो television set के साथ आपको मिला एक remote. remote control. Now here also there are two or more goods or services. Two or more goods. Two or more goods are existing. Are they naturally bundled? The answer is yes. So see, progressively हम लोग composite supply की definition की तरफ बढ़ रहे हैं. That पहले हमने बोला okay supply होना जरूरी है. वो supply एक taxable person को होना जरूरी है. That supply should be of two or more goods or services or a combination thereof, which are naturally bundled in the ordinary course of business. टीवी के साथ रिमोट आना ओके नथिंग वेरी सरप्राइजिंग हाउ कम इट इज पॉसिबल इट्स नॉट दैट ओके टीवी के साथ रिमोट आना ऑब्वियस है बिकॉज इट्स अ बिलीफ फ्रॉम द ट्रेड दैट ओके ये आने ही वाला आई एम सॉरी सम ऑफ यू मस्ट हैव बीन लाइक ओनिंग आईफोन्स जिसके साथ चार्जर नहीं आता है even nowadays Samsung has started doing that. The high end phones of Samsung they come without the chargers. I don't really understand why, but that is how it is. Now when you buy a laptop, okay, you buy a laptop, वो लैपटॉप के साथ आपको आता है चार्जर, वो लैपटॉप के साथ आपको आता है चार्जर. नाउ दिस पर्टिकुलर लैपटॉप व्हिच आई एम यूजिंग इट आल्सो हैज अ स्टाइलस, it also has a stylus. So when there is a combination of laptop stylus and charger which is given, मुझे बहुत अलग नहीं लगा कि अलग स्टाइलस कैसे दे दिया इसके साथ. ऐसा नहीं हुआ because it's okay, it's a part of the ordinary business. This is what is called as naturally bundled. Means naturally bundled means transaction के around there is no surprise effect. It is completely fine to have these things together. That is called as naturally bundled. As I stated, there is no definition of the word naturally bundled, but this is how you have to understand that. Supplied in conjunction with each other in the ordinary course of business, okay, one of which is a principal supply. Now यहाँ पे principal supply है, means ये जो combination आप खरीद रहे हो उसमें एक कोई तो ऐसा है जो defining supply category. Principal supply. What do you mean by principal supply? Principal supply means a supply which can possibly give the recognition to that transaction. Which can give the recognition to that transaction. And for that matter, section 2 subsection 90 में principal supply का भी definition है. 2 subsection 90 में principal supply का भी definition है. What it means, let's see what it means. Let us see here. Principal supply means the supply of goods or services which constitute the predominant element of a composite supply and to which any supply forming a part of that composite supply is ancillary. Now, let's go to these examples one by one. When you book the hotel, आपको ये सब चीजें उसके साथ आई. जब आपने hotel book किया, you got all these things along with it. But what was the predefining part of this transaction? Booking of a room was a predefining part of this transaction. So इसको मैं बोलूंगा okay, इसको हम safely बोल सकते हैं it is a principal supply. It is a principal supply. When I say TV and remote, now obvious है आप remote खरीदने के लिए TV खरीदते हो कि TV खरीदने के वजह से remote आता है. So TV becomes a principal supply. TV becomes a principal supply. Laptop and charger along with the stylus, laptop becomes a principal supply. So जब एक combination of goods and services को एक साथ बेचा जाता है and one of the goods or one of the services is the emphasis creating part of that transaction, then we will say that is called as a principal supply. So composite supply का पूरा definition में अगर वापस पढ़ो तो what it means the supply of goods or service made by a taxable person which are naturally bundled, which are consisting of two or more taxable supplies of goods or services which are naturally bundled in the ordinary course of business and one of which is a principal supply. This is the only meaning of the word composite supply. So composite supply को सिर्फ इतना meaning assign किया गया है that what it means, this is the how elaborately you need to understand this definition. Okay, now ये हो गया what is the composite supply. Now we'll go back to the provisions of section 8 where we actually started our discussion from today. That composite supply की taxability क्या है वो section 8 में पता है, but what is a composite supply, that is in 2 subsection 30 of the CGST Act. So I hope friends this part is clear to you and I'll go to the provisions of section 8. Now, what does the provision for taxability of composite supply tell you? Let us see. So I hope you have taken the screenshots. The taxability of composite or mixed supply shall be determined in the following manner, namely, उसमें now these are the provisions of section 8. उसमें का हम लोग A पढ़ रहे हैं. A composite supply comprising of two or more supplies, one of which is a principal supply, shall be treated as supply of such a principal supply. Now वो क्या बोल रहा है? That composite supply में taxability कैसे determine करोगे? Means what exactly? कि when you are giving two or more goods or services together, देन कौन से गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज का आप रेट ऑफ टैक्स अडॉप्ट करोगे, कौन से गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज के हिसाब से आप उसको टैक्स करोगे, चार्ज करोगे. सो व्हेन देयर इज अ कंपोजिट सप्लाई व्हिच इज आइडेंटिफाइड बाय द डेफिनेशन ऑफ कंपोजिट सप्लाई कि ओके दिस ट्रांजैक्शन इज अ कंपोजिट सप्लाई, एंड अगर कंपोजिट सप्लाई में आपको टैक्सेबिलिटी डिटरमाइन करना है तो सेक्शन 8 क्या बोलता है? दैट कंपोजिट सप्लाई मींस अ सप्लाई ऑफ टू और मोर गुड्स और सर्विसेज, टू और मोर गुड्स और सर्विसेज means supply of two or more, composite supply means comprising of two or more supplies, one of which is a principal supply. It shall be treated as supply of such principal supply. Means, now we'll just recap with the examples that we had discussed. Booking of hotel room along with breakfast, along with services जिसको हम लोग बोल सकते हैं miscellaneous services. इसमें मेरा क्या क्या कवर हो रहा है? what the hotel is giving, मेरा पिकअप ड्रॉप हो रहा है, मुझे ये करके जा रहा है. मतलब पिकअप ड्रॉप के लिए मैं बोलूंगा ट्रांसपोर्ट ऑफ पैसेंजर सर्विस है, रेस्टोरेंट सर्विस है. सो डिस्पाइट व्हेन ऑल सच मल्टीपल टाइप ऑफ कैटेगरी एग्जिस्ट, मैं बोलता हूँ कि बुकिंग ऑफ रूम का जो ट्रांजैक्शन है, रेंटिंग ऑफ रूम मतलब बुकिंग ऑफ रूम का जो ट्रांजैक्शन है, दैट इज ऑलवेज गोइंग टू बी द प्रिंसिपल सप्लायर, बिकॉज उसके वजह से तो बाकी सब चीजें हैं. The principles of all the world are going to be angry against me because I messed up with the spelling of principles. So friends, booking of a hotel room में why booking of मतलब room tariff should be considered as the principal supply, because the other things are following it. The other things are following that. There is no specification with regards to that other things. So a composite supply comprising of two or more supplies, one of which is the principal supply, shall be treated as supply of such principal supply. Means यहाँ पे let's suppose that room rent का rate of GST है 12%. अभी ब्रेकफास्ट आता है रेस्टोरेंट सर्विसेज में, मान के चलो वहां पे द रेट ऑफ टैक्स इज 5%. मिसलेनियस सर्विसेज ये 18% में, जेनेरिक सर्विस. ट्रांसपोर्टेशन ऑफ पैसेंजर अगेन लेट्स से 18%. रेस्टोरेंट सर्विसेज मे बी इधर ही कवर हो जाए. So when I have a product of maybe it's a service product, but जिसमें multiple rates of tax है, that means I will be required to select one particular rate of tax. That rate of tax will be taken as that of the principal supply. Means रूम रेंट या रूम बुकिंग चार्जेस के ऊपर जो रेट ऑफ टैक्स लगता है, that will be charged on the full value, that will be charged on the full value of all the goods or services which are supplied. But the rate of tax ये किसका रहेगा? Rate of tax will be as per the principal supply. So the rate of tax will be as per the principal supply. Means ये पूरे ट्रांजैक्शन में 12% जो रेट ऑफ टैक्स है वो ही चार्ज किया जाएगा. And on the full value of that package, because this service is considered to be a composite supply of the hotel services. Likewise, मैं अगर बोलूं कि मोबाइल फोन एंड उसका चार्जर. नाउ लेट्स से मोबाइल फोन के ऊपर द रेट ऑफ टैक्स इज 18%. चार्जर के ऊपर मान के चलो अज्यूम 28%. बट आपका इंटेंशन चार्जर खरीदना था या मोबाइल खरीदना था, जिसके साथ चार्जर आ चुका है. ऐसे केसेस में वैल्यू ऑफ मोबाइल प्लस चार्जर याच्यावरती GST will be levied at the rate of 18%. Why? Because it is the principal supply. And composite supply का taxability में section 8 क्या बताता है? A composite supply comprising of two or more supplies, one of which is a principal supply, shall be treated as a supply of such a principal supply. So this is how it is. Have you understood? Have you all understood, or whomsoever is watching? I hope you are understanding something out of this, what we are discussing. So please take a screenshot. Right? Okay. Next. Now let us see what is a mixed supply. अभी relatively easier. Mixed supply के बारे में क्या बोला? Mixed supply. So let us go to section 2 subsection 74. Okay. Now, mixed supply. Mixed supply means supply of two or more. Mixed supply means two or more individual supplies of goods or services or any combination thereof, made in conjunction with each other by a taxable person. Now I'm not going to explain again and again the same thing. For a single price. Now only try to find कि यहाँ तक तो काफी similar लगता है composite supply से, but यहाँ पे कुछ एक point है जो necessary है, that when the goods or services are applied or combination thereof made in conjunction with other by a taxable person for a single price. For a single price, which where such supply does not amount to where such supply does not amount to composite supply, it shall be considered as mixed supply. Now see, primarily दोनों composite supply बोलो या mixed supply बोलो, दोनों में एक चीज common है, that there have to be two or more goods or services. But in case there are two or more goods or services involved, and if here we are saying mixed supply means two or more individual supplies of goods or services or any combination thereof made in conjunction with each other by a taxable person for a single price, where such supply does not constitute a composite supply. Now let us try to take an example. So mixed supply में देखो अभी इंपॉर्टेंट क्या है इसमें, इंपॉर्टेंट क्या है इसमें, that where such supply does not constitute to be a composite supply, it will be a mixed supply. So I'll give you an example for mixed supply. Now let's say that I am the, let's say that I am say supplying a shaving kit. I am supplying shaving kit for rupees 2,500. Now this shaving kit consists of, say, this will consist of brush, foam, then brush, foam, right? Brush, foam, then scissors, then you have comb, then maybe a small mirror. So as a part of shaving kit, there are so many things which are being given together. Like there are multiple goods or goods which are being given together. And multiple goods are being given together, but which is not a composite supply. Now, normally you tell me that when there is some, for the purpose of business, some things are added together or put together for the purpose of sale. Are put together for the purpose of sale. Means that enhances the ability of sale of that product. Shaving kit as such does not have any identity. Shaving kit is just a packing of multiple different goods together. So when two or more individual supplies of goods or services or any combination thereof is made in conjunction with each other, यहाँ तक okay है सब कुछ, but for a single price, and such supply does not amount to composite supply, means it is mutually exclusive. Your transaction cannot fall under composite as well as mixed. It is a exclusive transaction, mutually exclusive transaction. So mixed supply means two or more individual supplies of goods or services or any combination thereof made in conjunction with each other by a taxable person for a single price. Where such supply does not constitute to a composite supply. ऐसे टाइम पे हम लोग उसको बोलेंगे it's a mixed supply. So shaving kit is a mixed supply. Now मान के चलो ये shaving kit में scissors को rate of duty है, scissors को let's say rate of duty है, something is wrong, wait 1 minute. So let's say scissors को rate of duty is say 12%. Scissors को rate of duty is 12%. Okay. Now यहाँ पे scissors को अगर 12% rate of duty मैंने दिया, rate of tax दिया, mirror को दिया मैंने 18%, comb को मैंने दिया 12%, foam को मैंने दिया 28%, तो क्या प्रॉब्लम आ सकता है? Let us see. Now let us see what does mixed supply have to offer to us in section 8. ये हम लोग तो वैल्यूएशन में चले गए. Now कहाँ घूम गया यार नोट्स? It's a bit funny that I'm not able to trace the notes only. Okay, anyways, mixed supply के taxability के बारे में बात करते हैं. So in case of mixed supply, if I have to determine the taxability, then section 8 subsection B tells me something, that in section 8B, what has been stated, that in case of mixed supply, the highest rate of tax will be adopted for the purpose of determining the tax on that transaction. Means that in this case, when I was stating to you that if I'm going to sell something called as a shaving kit, okay, if I'm going to say sell something called as a shaving kit, and now that shaving kit has some different products with different rates of tax, but because it is a mixed supply, now why it is a mixed supply? Because those goods are artificially brought together for the purpose of business. It is not a composite supply. It has lost its charm of being a composite supply. More importantly, not because of the combination, but more importantly, because of lack of principal supply category. So it is not going in composite supply, it is coming under mixed supply. So mixed supply में taxability के बारे में section 8 का कहना एकदम simple है. Section 8 tells it very simply what you need to do with the taxes in case of mixed supply. What it says, mixed supply comprising of two or more supplies shall be treated as supply of that particular supply which attracts the highest rate of tax. Means if I sell anything in the packet, whether it is goods or services, as long as they are not naturally bundled, then if they are not naturally bundled, then the provision of the law is going to get invoked, and in that case your supply will be treated as a composite or a mixed supply depending upon the category. But like I said, it is also possible that there are transactions which are neither composite supply nor mixed supply, so kindly take a note of that as well. Okay, now so we are trying to discuss now. Let's say Diwali मिलने वाला sweet box हो गया, that is also a mixed supply. So any supply of two or more goods or services where it is a where it is a case of composite supply, where it is a case of mixed supply, or the third one that I was putting across to you as an idea, that third one will be called as assorted supply or separate supply. Now, why I'm a bit keen on discussing that assorted or separate supply, I'll tell you in a while. Okay, I'll tell you in a while. That composite supply, okay, mixed supply, okay, what is this assorted supply? Now just try to visualize a transaction that you go to DMart, you pick up 15 items, soap, shampoo, liquid hand wash, good night mat and coils and Mortein coils वगैरह वगैरह सब 15 चीजें लेकर आता है. What does the shopkeeper do? He will go on clicking, verifying, okay, it's ये बारकोड में स्कैन करके इतना पैसा हुआ, इतना पैसा, ऐसा बोलते बोलते वो खत्म करेंगे. Now these transactions, even though there are two or more goods which are coming to you, but please remember they are not coming to you by the ordinary course of transaction. आप सिर्फ 15 चीजें एक साथ खरीद रहे हो. There is a difference when you buy some goods and it has 15 things vis-a-vis you buying 15 different things. So there is no question of discussion on composite or mixed supply. You go to a DMart store, you go and buy 15 different items. You will say that okay sir, bill दे दो. वो लोग क्या करेंगे, जो रेट जिस प्रोडक्ट के ऊपर एप्लीकेबल है वो उनके पास लेबल लगा के वहां पे खत्म कर देते. So we are saying that when there is going to be a composite or a mixed supply, then those factors that we discussed as a part of definition, they have to be very much there. If a transaction consists of two or more goods or services, and if that transaction does not have any specific principal supply, If it fails to be a principal supply, it will be considered as a mixed supply. If it fails to be a, if it is fails to be a principal supply, then we are going to say if it is a mixed supply. Beg your pardon for that. And if it is a mixed supply, then what is the rate of tax that, what is the taxability of the transaction is going to be? That is what we. And if, however, there are transactions where goods or services are sold separately, और goods or services as told as a part of mall shopping based आपने कुछ किया तो उसमें कोई भी composite and mix supply नहीं आता है because आपने अपने मर्जी से उठा के अलग अलग goods को एक साथ लेकर आए. So friends, as far as the composite supply, mixed supply is concerned, we have tried to discuss this. Today also try to go and find some this thing. Tomorrow we'll be doing one session only for discussing question and answers for the first chapter that we have done till now. Practically, I'm trying to put up the picture before you, but I know that this subject is a bit dry to absorb for a long time. So this is some beginning that you need to keep. So friends, on this note, I would like to put up a part that, okay, the notes part of it. So I've received, as I already mentioned, I had received the email request for the notes, and today I will be sending the notes to those who have sent me the email request. Over and above this, if anybody wants to have the notes, please send me an email to omkargadgil@gmail.com, eumkargadgil@gmail.com. I will share those PDF notes with you. I hope you are understanding. I hope the paragraph of composite and mix supply is clear to all of you. So tomorrow we'll meet. If the time is not same, but most likely it is going to be the same time, 7:30, 7:45 we will start. So thank you so much for being around. I'm sorry for the delay and lag in between. That is, I told you that when practically it becomes impossible to address this lecture thing, I generally opt out of it. Yesterday we had a contingency, so we couldn't. Anyways, going forward, we'll try to meet the consistency as much as possible. So in the light of these facts, next lecture, whenever you will attend, please ensure that you are carrying some notebooks so that we will discuss the questions, we'll write down the answer, like 1 or 2 answers. I would request you to write it down properly. That will be easy. So friends, on that note, I would sign off for the day. Thank you so much. Take care. Jai Hind. Jai Maharashtra. Thank you. Good night.